For today's verse of the day that I want to share with everybody, uh, there's a verse I like in Numbers 11. I was reading Numbers 11, verse 33, and when I read it, y'all are gonna be like, "How can you like this verse? That sounds like something bad." Yeah, I just think it's interesting the truth we can take from this verse. Numbers 11, verse 33. And while the flesh was yet between their teeth, ere it was chewed, and the wrath of God was kindled against the people, and the Lord smote the people with a very great plague. How is that a good verse? How can I think that's a good verse? That sounds like a bad thing that happened there. Well, first of all, there's no bad verse in the Bible. Second of all, I think it's interesting what the verse teaches us. For anyone who doesn't already know the story, in Numbers 11, we see several different things happening. One of those being that the children of Israel start complaining to God about the fact that they're only receiving manna. They don't like their one option menu that God is sending them, even though manna is something that only the children of Israel in their walking through the wilderness ever experienced. No one has ever tasted or eaten manna aside from those children of Israel. So they complained about it to God, and God said, "Okay, you're going to have meat, and you're going to eat so much meat that you're going to get sick of it." And sure enough, when they gathered the quails that God sent to the children to their camp, they gathered them up, cooked them up, or whatever, and as they were eating it, what God promised came to pass. They got sick of it immediately, and not just sick of it as in they couldn't stomach it or anything, but sick of it as in there was an actual plague running through the people of Israel because of their complaining to God. And that brings one simple truth to mind. Two, actually. First of all, don't complain to God for something He's given you, because it is something that He is giving you to use for Him and also to sustain you. Whatever God gives you is because, well, God wants you to use it for Him and also to sustain you. God sees it as something that either He wants to give you or that you actually need something like that. So first of all, don't complain about what God gives you. That's the first thing. Second of all, don't refuse to the second part, rather, let me reword that. The second part, rather, isn't exactly a truth that is set in the Bible, unless you want to talk about Jesus telling His disciples to pray the Lord's Prayer and things like that, though that didn't actually have to do with meals. It's a good idea to ask God to bless the food, because the Israelites, we don't see anything describing here that they thanked God for the food He had sent them. All they did was complain, and God gave it to them, and they got a plague from it. Because of their complaint, that's what God punished them with. So it's a good idea to ask God to bless your food, because otherwise it could go down the wrong way. And at least God blessing it can possibly go down the right way and actually help you rather than hurt you. So those are the two ideas that came to mind when I was reading this verse, Numbers 11, verse 33. And I hope that it's a blessing to you all. And tomorrow I'll be putting out another video.